Hey everyone, this one's going to be a little bit different. Going through the comments, because usually when I do these comments, when I look in my comments, I usually see some stuff that's pretty standard, like, hey, this was a great video or something like that. Sometimes they can get a little bit insane, but there was one that stood out to me. It was run from a channel called Things and Stuff. And in regards to Reppin' for Jesus, he said, I think satire and irony goes over your head. Alright, so the issue here is that Reppin' for Jesus is actually a video that was actually like a parody or something. I did actually find that out. I didn't put it in the video, or I didn't update the description like I probably would for certain things. But I actually did find that out, and it surprised me because it seemed plausible to me based on my own experiences with Christianity. For example, when I was younger, when I was in middle school, I used to have to go to a teen ministry, and in my church because apparently you couldn't be under adult age and go to like the adult church. So while there, the youth minister, I guess if you want to call him that, he decided to come up with some kind of explanation for God or something, and was saying, "Oh well, God obviously has a sense of humor because look at the ostrich. Look how stupid looking it is. It's a bird but can't fly. Look at that tiny little head and the huge body. Clearly, God has a sense of humor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have created this." So, by his own description, the church apparently wanted you to believe that God is very, very cruel and will create things kind of weird looking simply because it amuses him. This is something I learned in a church. See what I mean? That's why I think it's plausible. And that's not the only thing, because I've been to so many down here, because sometimes they kind of sort of start going off the rails sometimes. But there was one down here. One down here I was going to when that happened, and another one a little ways down from here because I live in the south. So there's one every 2 miles. So this one, this one was trying to modernize. So it's kind of designed sort of like a nightclub. So oftentimes you'd have like these really loud club music playing for the devotionals and everything, and oftentimes it doesn't. And one thing I can think of that why people do this is because it covers up something that apparently a lot of people either don't notice or are too nice to mention. A lot of the people who are singing there really can't sing. But they and it's the same thing at the other church, because they don't use this type of music, and it's more obvious that they can't sing. And it makes me think about that scene from the Sister Act where Whoopi Goldberg's character tries to get them to sing, and they all sound amazingly good, and it's seen as some kind of a miraculous event. It makes me think that these people think because they're singing devotionals that they're just going to miraculously start singing better or something, and it it really doesn't happen. And I've had to say to my mom when I was there, like, these people sound awful. And she's like, shh, don't say that out loud. But yeah. But that's not the only thing. There's also this other guy that was down here in Miami where I am now that I can't remember his full name. I remember part of it was like Juan de Jesus Miranda or something. And he was going around telling people that he was Christ and the Antichrist reincarnated or some bull like that. Even though that makes no sense. And this is the type of things I encountered. And then there's also the darker side of this that I've seen happen down here too. And one of them I just recently found out about. So one example that I knew of from a long time ago was this guy called Terry Jones. He was that pastor that was down here. He wanted to not burn down, I mean, okay, that's a little bit too extreme. He wanted to burn the Quran for no reason. He, for no reason at all, really. I mean, he was basically a racist, and he assumed that Muslims just hate Christians, despite the fact that this actually makes no sense if you understand the religion itself and not what other people are telling you. Like, for instance, in a church, or that, like, for instance, my church actually says the opposite of this, even though I've read through it and I've studied the religion itself, and it actually does not condone this type of thing. And even if some Muslims do it, it doesn't mean that's what the religion tells them to do. Just like this, Christianity does not tell us to go do like this. But yeah, that's something that happened. He was some crazy guy who thought that God was commanding him to burn the Quran or something, even though that's not really a thing. And then there was this other guy, anti-gay Florida pastor, found guilty for molesting teen boy and girl. This happened in Jacksonville. This type of thing, like I said, I've seen stuff like this all over the place before. And this is the one that's actually from my own church. This was the pastor from the church I went to at the time, which was Calvary Chapel. I think a lot of people know about this place already. So a few years ago, the Pastor Bob Coy, he resigned his position as like the head pastor or something, and he resigned because, as it turns out, he was suffering from some kind of a moral failing and apparently cheated on his wife. Now, this guy spoke out a lot against doing such things, like the anti-gay pastor who was charged with molesting a boy. But it got worse. On November 14th of this year, it turns out he was accused of molesting a 4-year-old girl at one point a few years ago. So yeah, I keep saying that. I keep saying so yeah a lot because there's nothing more to add to these things. But it is like that sometimes down here. This is why I don't find it so beyond belief that a church would put something like Rapping for Jesus, because there are a lot of churches down here that are somewhat hypocritical and sometimes don't seem to be largely in touch with society at all. Like this, like for instance, this one is going a little off, going back to what I was talking about, because this one had this church in Kentucky, the Kentucky Baptist Convention, hosted the Second Amendment celebration, where they apparently gave away guns and steaks as door prizes. There's other church that was literally a fight church. One was a motorcycle club, and I think there was already one like this. I know there's a pastor in like Louisiana who does this. I don't remember what his name is. This one that used lions and action movie. This is Troy Gramling. Okay, this is the pastor of Potential Church, the one I was mentioning that makes it like a club and everything. He actually, this is something he did. He sat in a car and it blew up, and he emerged unscathed to show God had protected him or something, when it was very obviously special effects. And that's not the worst thing. There are videos like these.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare. Now, if you study a well-made banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 ridges. On the close side, 2 ridges. If you get your hand ready to grip a banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 grooves, on the close side 2 grooves.
Oh look, Earth's first land plants were small and boss-like. Oh yeah? How do you know? Did you have a video camera there? Where's the tape? I want to see the evidence.
Something! Take a catch! That's yours tonight! You want it? You want it? Take it!
Starbucks wanted to take Christ and Christmas off of their brand new cups. That's why they're just plain red. In fact, do you realize that Starbucks isn't allowed to say Merry Christmas to customers? Well, I decided, instead of simply boycotting, well, why don't we just start a movement? So when I went in and I asked for my coffee, they asked for my name, and I told them my name is Merry Christmas.
This this utility pole in Hathaway different from this one? Well, Ricky Navarre says it shows the image of Jesus Christ.
So, you see where I'm coming from here? You see where I'm coming from? This is why I don't find it hard to believe that a church would do something so completely ridiculous like that rap video, because there are a lot of ones down here that have done. There are a lot of churches and pastors all over the country, even down here, that have done way worse. Seeing that video, and if it was real, it's pretty par for the course for a lot of the stuff I've seen. So, with that, I'm going to end this video here, and I apologize for making this video, because it's so far away from what I usually do on this channel. It's just something I wanted to say regarding that comment that somebody left on the Rapping for Jesus video, because it's not so much parody goes over my head. It's just that for me, it's par for the course. It's not outlandish enough for me to see it as a parody, because I've seen worse stuff. I've seen worse stuff before that numb me to stuff like that, because it's just too unusual down here when it comes to Christianity. It's because it's more or less like most of the people down here are Christians, but don't actually read the Bible a lot of the time, so they oftentimes will try to use it to control people or something without really thinking about the repercussions it'll have. It's not even just like in individual people. This type of stuff shows up in films too, like in the movie, for example, God's Not Dead. I mean, this entire movie itself is not very good in terms of writing. Like, for instance, the whole plot could have been avoided, basically, because what the professor does in the whole movie, what he does is basically blatantly commit a civil rights violation by saying, I'm going to discriminate against the Christian students. This very well could have been solved if they just went to the dean or, got a lawyer. But I know lawyers can be expensive, but still, there was so much other stuff they could have done instead of this, and the whole conflict could have been avoided. Like I said, they could have gone to the dean, or they could have threatened to sue the school for discrimination. They could have done those things. I would have had a bigger effect, or at least an equal effect, without having to go through at least how long is this? However long the movie is, basically. But then again, it wouldn't have been interesting. It also goes with the fact that it portrays Muslims pretty badly and portrays atheists pretty badly. Also, another thing is that I think I said this in the Rapping for Jesus videos, that I actually am a Christian, so I find most of this stuff really, really embarrassing, that it kind of drags all of us through the mud, even though all of us don't ascribe to this kind of thing, but it makes us all look bad. It makes us all look really, really bad when they act like this. So with that, I'm in this video here, so be sure to check out my other videos, which are way better than this one, as well as Prize Box Productions videos. Those are channels Prize Box Gaming and Prize Box Reacts. Thanks for watching. Stay jamming, everyone.